Recorded Books presents Turned Up, Hotshot Series by Clifford Spud Johnson. Narrated by Tony Isabella. Prologue. Hotshot couldn't believe that the director of the FBI had pulled some strings to have Nola released. He was standing outside the federal camp when he watched his heartbeat. His wife, Nola Gaines, the woman he loved more than anything in the world. She exited the federal prison camp and stepped toward him with a grin on her face. "So, you got it like that, huh? You made this happen and didn't tell me, Shot? You're supposed to be in my arms right now, giving me a tight hug. But no, you want to start fussing at me out the gate. This married stuff may be too much for a man of my stature to handle." They both laughed and embraced tightly, sharing a long and passionate kiss. Hotshot was the first to break their embrace, smiled, and said, "Now that's the proper way to greet your husband. I expect that daily." He easily ducked the punch she threw at him, grabbed her bag with one hand and her hand with the other, and led her to the rental car parked in the parking lot of the federal prison. Once they were inside the car and on their way, Hotshot began to explain how things would be. "So we're living in L.A.? When can I tell my sister I'm out, Shot?" "That's going to be kind of hard to do, baby. I need to get at JT and see how he wants to handle that situation. I in no way want to keep you away from your sister, but it's crucial that what I do remains a secret. Cotton doesn't even know." "I understand, baby, but it's only going to be a matter of time before Lola figures out that something ain't right. Like when I don't call her for our every other week phone call, especially when it comes to our once-a-month visit. So I think you should make sure JT covers that base, because Lola will blow up the spot once she isn't able to speak to me." Hotshot nodded his head in agreement and said, "Facts. I'll get at JT and let him know the severity of the situation." "While you do that, you might as well tell him to let you get at Cotton, because sooner or later, that too can blow up the spot. That man has the utmost respect for you. Hell, he'd love to be able to assist you any way he can." As Hotshot pulled the car into the rental return slot, they got out of the vehicle and held hands as he led Nola toward the private airstrip, where a shiny GV was waiting for them. They entered the plane, were greeted by the pilot, and quickly went to their seats. "You like?" "You do know we are way past the impress me stage, Shot. I've loved you since I first saw you at that club. I'm so in love with you, sir, that my heart beats faster when I'm near you," she said, as she grabbed his hand and placed it over her heart. Her heart was beating so fast, he thought she would have a heart attack. She smiled at the look on her husband's face and said, "See, I told you. But to answer your question, yes, I like. But you know what I would like even better than this, pretty plain?" "What?" "I've never had sex on a plane before, especially in a private jet. I need to feel you inside of me. Now." The urgency in her voice gave him the hardest hard-on he'd ever had in his life. He quickly unbuckled his belt, pulled his pants down, and watched Nola as she slid off her jeans, dropped to her knees, and put her hot mouth around his swollen dick. Hotshot felt as if he was going to explode inside her mouth. She sucked him slowly at first, and then she sped up, and Hotshot could no longer hold back. "Nola," he hissed, "I'm coming." She went even faster and caught every drop of his cum inside her mouth. Now that was a nice surprise. I needed that. Shot sat down in his seat and tried to catch his breath. Once he was breathing normally, he smiled at her and said, "You freak." "You love it." He smiled and said, "Yes, baby, I do." "Before we get to the real business, what does JT have in store for your next move? I hope he knows I plan on going with you when you go to work." Laughing, he said, "I'm not sure about that, but we won't have to worry about any of that right now, because I'm working on my home turf." She stared at him for a few seconds, then said, "You working in Cali on what, Shot?" He returned her stare and
Sample complete. Ready to continue?